Hi everyone, this is audap. Let's continue our game of Doom on Nintendo Switch. Argent, by destroying Vega, you've created a portal directly into the heart of Hell. Now you must find your way to the source of the UAC's power, known as the Well. The Crucible will allow you to absorb and contain the energy of the Well for good. Close the well. Really? Okay. Couldn't get that chainsaw hot enough. Get that chainsaw fast enough. Damn it. Watch that first step. Okay. No, don't kill me. That away, thank you. into the maw.
They promised me so much.
Yeah. I take it back. I don't like brainy women. I got jacked.
You've won. It's over. You stopped the invasion and closed the portal. But it's come at a price. Argent, Vega, this entire operation. You see, I've watched you work. Come to understand your motivation. You think the only way is to kill them all, leave nothing behind. And you may be right. But we can't just shut it all down. Without Argent energy, it will be worse. I don't expect you to agree. But with this, we can continue our work. I am not the villain in this story. I do what I do because there is no choice.
Rerouting tethered coordinates complete.
Our time is up. I can't kill you, but I won't have you standing in our way. Until we see each other again.
Alright, that was Doom 2016. What a crazy ride. I actually can't wait for the follow-up. I don't think I'll wait as long to play the music. They did a really good job with this game. It's certainly well deserving of all the praise it got. I think few first-person shooters give you the crazy kind of ride that this game does. Having them return to what was essentially the Doom 1 roots, it was a wise decision. Doom 3, while well-intentioned, it certainly just wasn't conceived. The things that made Doom scary were not really, really dark environments and monsters that sprung out of nowhere. It was really an oppressive atmosphere. Well, I don't know. I guess I never considered Doom scary. So to make Doom scary in Doom 3, it was just something that didn't make sense. But the designers felt differently, and they came out with something which was okay, but not great. Unlike this game, and Doom 1 and 2, which were really great games. I think Patenting Button has done a really fantastic job of converting a game that shouldn't even be possible onto the Switch. Of course, there are sacrifices. The game doesn't look as good as it possibly could. But does it need to? I don't know. Yeah, I certainly didn't find all those, did I? I have not found anywhere near the number of secrets which I should have. But I was having fun just rolling through the game and shooting everything in sight, so... I mean, that's all I really care about, kind of, at the end of the day. I'd say for those that are interested in the game and have no other means to play it, no other platforms, or if they just like the ability to have this game portable, this is certainly a good decision. You'll get your money's worth. You'll get a lot of good playtime out of it. There's multiple difficulties, all the secrets. There certainly is a multiplayer mode if you want to play a more classic Quake style game. And I think it's pretty serviceable. I think it's fun enough as it is. But if you're looking for kind of larger experience that something like Battlefield or PUBG or Fortnite has, that's not going to be that game. This game is going to be the claustrophobic, high-speed, high-adrenaline game. I'm glad they do have a story mode, a one-player mode. just the story in Doom has never been good. I mean, it's just been okay. Nothing really special. That's the case with this game as well, but at least they're trying. I mean, this is just cool looking stuff. I mean, look at this. The original cover of it. Normally I wouldn't like this this kind of loud, grungy music, but it's appropriate for this game. I think that was well done. I don't know if anything is ever going to compare to the Quake soundtrack, Quake #1. I think that's probably the top of their game. You know, Trent Reznor contributed quite a bit to that. It's interesting to see how it used to be, you know, the ultimate engine creator back in id Tech 1 days, but now they're sort of relegated to just a couple developers, you know, themselves, and I think maybe 2 or 3 other external developers that use id Tech. Still, that being said, I mean, you know, it's a very, very flexible engine. We're certainly seeing more come out of id than anything that's come out of Epic on this platform. But there is Fortnite, so at least you get that. You get a couple of Unreal game engines from independent developers as well. I think this game is it's a perfect companion to the Wolfenstein series, or at least the new Wolfenstein series, where those are much more story-based, much more focused on character and development, along with some really, really good shooting action. Whereas this is just kind of no-nonsense. You get big weapons, you have massive enemies, you have lots of them against you, but you still feel powerful, and you know, it's just your skill that manages to persevere. I'm hoping the rest of the id Tech games come out here. I mean, I'd love to see the Evil Within 2 make a conversion. There is a new multiplayer focused Quake game which you can get. I'd like to see that one happen as well. There's certainly an audience that's hungry for it. I think those multiplayer focused games have done really, really well on the Switch. If developers care to develop for it, I mean, you know, it's a big commitment of resources for an audience that's, you know, maybe a quarter of the Xbox One at this point in time. But that audience buys a lot more than the Xbox One crowd. Not quite as much as the PlayStation 4 crowd, but they're certainly getting up there. There's a lot of multi-million-dollar hits already in a system that's only been around for 2 years. And not just from Nintendo. I think this is, you know, one of the few systems made by Nintendo that's successful for people other than Nintendo. I hope id continues to generate content and to make games. I think the industry would be sorely missed without them. I mean, just think of the world where you're stuck with only Gears of War, only Halo and Battlefield and Call of Duty and its various flavors of Development Studios. I mean, those games, they all kind of blend together after a while. There's something really distinct about its new development, though. I am interested to see whether they decide to jump into the massive battle genre that we've seen with PUBG and Fortnite. No doubt they will. You know, as a standalone title and not as just an expansion or a mod that people have been doing. Bethesda certainly made a wise purchase with it. Although it's one of those things that they never really needed to expand. Elder Scrolls and Fallout have provided them with much income. I think the only company that consistently outsells Bethesda, with Elder Scrolls, is it's probably Rockstar. Well deserving. I do wish this game actually had a nice, tight story end instead of just yeah, we're gonna make another of these. Just wait a couple of years. We'll get right back to you. There's been more Wolfensteins than Dooms, so, well, which is a real shame. Man, my percentage is so low in this, but oh well. I do plan a run through of the PC version on max settings. I think the ultimate problem with that is that there's no HDR support, so I don't have anything additional to offer except having a full 4K video. I think there's some independent modders out there trying to enable that. We'll see how successful they are. Of course, if you have versions outside of this version, if you have the PC version specifically, then there's lots and lots of mods out there for this game that change it quite significantly. The community support's still really good, even after 2 years, which is not always the case. Sometimes games only last for a year, and then they pretty much disappear off the face of the planet. Now, for those of you wondering about the motion control, I think they implemented it really, really well. So if you haven't played the game in a while and want to check it out, it's done well. It works better than just having the normal sticks. Although, unlike Splatoon, this is not a game of like real subtle aiming. Still, you'll find it useful, as I did. So I'm kind of glad I waited to play it until after they implemented the motion control. But if you have shaky hands or can't keep them still enough, you can do some adjustments to that motion control. As you can see, I really didn't have a whole lot of shakiness. It's only when I was holding the controller in one hand, while answering text messages. That's the only time where you really saw a bunch of shakiness due to the motion control. Other than that, I think they got the sensitivity right, just about right. Actually, I do hope they decide to bring the classic Dooms, 1 and 2, to this platform as well. Although I think at this point, they should probably reconsider doing HD or 4K remixes of those games. Those engines, they don't look pleasant anymore. Although I think people are okay with the way they look, understanding that they're classic games. I think a lot of audiences would just like to see them be completely remade. There's lots of indie developers doing that. Well, the community has certainly started doing that, but those efforts always get shut down. So as soon as you find somebody that does a really good job of remodeling all the levels in Unreal or idTech or Crysis or CryEngine, as soon as the word gets out, man, those projects they disappear. It's almost like you can't tell anybody that you've done something, even when it's really cool. Certainly, all the assets are there. I think it would be worth their time if they decide to do it. 4K versions of Doom 1 and 2 with their new engines. They could probably skip Doom 3 because I think Doom 3 actually scales pretty well. Granted, their textures are low resolution for what we consider today. I mean, Doom 3 was targeting 640 by 480, at least on the consoles. That was a much different time back then. But 1 and 2, they could use a facelift, I think. And I'd certainly buy them again. I think I bought them every time they've come out. Again, I think if you want to play Doom, this is certainly a good way to play it. It's not the best way, you know. We'll say that up front. I think if you want the very, very best experience, that's still in a reasonable price range, then the PlayStation 4 VR version is pretty high up there. Again, not the best looking, just due to the nature of VR, but certainly the most immersive. It's a fun little journey on the VR headset. Or if you're a PC user, you can certainly use the Vive and Oculus. There's VR versions out there as well. So many people go into making these games. That's why they take a couple years to make. I have heard that that it is going to make a sequel to Rage too. That's a very interesting choice to me. Because while the game sold the appropriate amount, you know, certainly didn't sound like gangbusters. I don't think Time has really treated that game very well. But we'll see. You never know. I mean, it could be like Prey, where you know, it starts off as one game and becomes something completely different. Still think it's a little weird that that the Doom Marine can be held and captured and sent away. It seems like he's much more powerful than something that can be contained. But you know, it's a video game story. I expect a little, and usually get that much. But I'm all for it. I'd rather have much more interesting gameplay, much more fun, dynamic gameplay than a whole lot of time being pumped into the lore. Because as gamers, you take something which is not a good story, you know, like if you were to read it in a book or watch it in a movie, you'd think, boy, this is a terrible story. But we fill in the blanks when we're playing a game because we're interacting in that world. So even something that, you know, wouldn't play to an audience that doesn't play games, it plays really well to us. I think that's why we get roped into thinking that these stories are grander than they really are. There's some exceptions, of course, and we're seeing more and more of that in the independent community with games that are just all story and very little gameplay. I hope we don't have to wait another 3 years for the sequel to Doom. I think it was announced at E3, but we are seeing them take Doom to Earth, like was promised in Doom 2. Although in Doom 2, Earth looks exactly like Mars. It's due to the technology. But you know, that's going to be like another 2 years at minimum. Oh well. I guess, you know, I can play Wolfenstein instead. I love that world too. I like how they give the infrastructure folks some credit too. And, you know, under normal conditions, all this sort of demonic imagery, I usually roll my eyes at. Most of the time, it doesn't look cool. In this case, it does look cool. I think they managed to build that whole world, both in Mars and on, you know, Hell. I think they did a good job. It's like the rock and roll version of Hell, though. So many credits. So many people. There's a job that sucks. QA. Ugh. Found a bug. Let me chase it down. Doom unto the evil. Really? So there you go. That was Doom. I hope you enjoyed watching. Again, this is the Switch version. If you haven't played it, play it. It's awesome. You'll like it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. I will see you at the next stream.